good evening. I'm Kevin Christopher.
And I'm Haley Harmon, in tonight for Nancy Cox. Thank you for joining us at 6. Let's get straight to the latest on today's breaking news out of the state of Maryland. That's where at least 5 people are confirmed dead, several others wounded after a shooting at the Capital Gazette newspaper in Annapolis. It's unclear at this hour how many people total were injured.
A source says one person, believed to be the shooter, is in custody. A motive has not been determined, though. President Donald Trump said on Twitter he's been briefed about the shooting. He sent his thoughts and prayers to victims and their families and thanked first responders for their work. Stay with us for nightly news with Lester Holt at 6:30 for continual coverage of this deadly shooting. And we continue to follow a developing story in Rockcastle County where police are investigating a really bad wreck.
The scene is along Interstate 75. It's in the median of the north and southbound lanes near mile marker 56. Connor McHugh is live with this developing story. Connor?
After a traffic nightmare that lasted at least 2.5 hours here on I75 southbound, we have the first good news for you. In all of that time, traffic is finally moving. People are starting to make it onto the interstate, and traffic is actually moving a little bit better, or it's actually moving at all. Is just a huge deal here. Now, there is still a little bit of a mess. The traffic was backed all the way up. Someone's excited that they're getting on the highway. Traffic was moved backed up all the way back to Berea, so there is still a lot of cars, so it will be a little bit slower, but again, good news, cars are moving. Now, we'll show you some pictures from Mount Vernon earlier. This is the cause of this traffic backup. It's a wreck that happened at the 56-mile marker involving 2 different cars. Dispatch tells us that at least one person was taken to the hospital. They do not know the extent of those injuries right now. We'll bring you back here where, again, traffic is moving. They have now opened up the southbound lanes. They opened up the northbound lanes a little over an hour ago. Before this, there was still a little bit of a traffic mess on US 25, but that should be a lot better now that the interstate is back open. We'll send it right back to you guys, covering the news live from the LEX 18 mobile newsroom. Back to you.
All right, Connor, thank you very much. A homeowner in Lexington is taking advantage of the summer weather by renovating his home. But you will never guess what was found in the backyard of his home during those renovations.
Construction workers called 911 after they found a grenade. Lexington police realized it was live and brought in the hazardous devices unit. LEX 18's Jacqueline Nye has that story.
When the people who live along Rosemont Gardens saw police cars outside of a home, they didn't think much of it.
Well, we were going out, and as we were going down the street, there were a couple of police cars in front of us, no lights, no sirens.
One neighbor says he went to the store, and when he came back, there were more police cars, and their street was shut down.
I was wondering what the devil was going on.
Construction workers who are renovating a home on the street called 911 after finding a grenade in the backyard. The Lexington police called their hazardous devices unit, who took x-rays of the grenade and figured out it was live. One man who was doing work on his home says he doesn't know what he would do if he found a grenade in his yard.
We would do the same thing as call the authorities and have them come. I mean, I definitely wouldn't try to do anything on my own.
The Lexington Police Department says they believe the grenade, possibly of the World War II era, had been on the ground for some time. Neighbors are just in pure shock. Something like this was found where they live.
You never know. I mean, more and more strange things happen in this world, as you know.
Covering the news in Lexington, Jacqueline Nye, LEX 18 News.
Lexington police say the grenade was remotely placed in a total containment vessel by a robot taken from that neighborhood and detonated safely.
Today marks 1 year since that massive explosion on the campus of Murray State University. Police say it was a gas leak that caused the explosion at the New Richmond dormitory. According to records from the State Housing Department, a lawnmower hit a regulator on the ground, and that could have triggered the leak. A repair worker was called to the building that day, and he told investigators he had made repairs just hours before the explosion. Luckily, no one was seriously hurt. Strong storms this week have left one Lincoln County family stranded on their own property.
The water took down a huge bridge, which was the family's only way in and out. LEX 18's Carolina Buchek has a look at the damage.
This shaky beam right here is the only way one Lincoln County family can go to and from their own home. That is because the only bridge that lets them off of their property collapsed in this week's storms. They say it happened because this creek right here, it just got too strong and far too high. This water took down everything on Tuesday night.
This was holding on for dear life, and it was like Niagara Falls. And in a matter of, I guess, probably 15 minutes of the water coming over it, it broke.
With the bridge crumbled into pieces, there's no other way to get to the Newcomb family's home, cars, or cattle farm business besides this beam.
This is it.
And the beam is only accessible by foot.
If we have an emergency that requires an ambulance, how are they going to get across?
A new bridge could cost $20,000 to $30,000. And the worst part is, it looks like the state and federal government can't help.
For someone that lives on a farm, you know, just doesn't have $25,000 or $35,000.
And right now the family worries if any more rain were to fall, causing this creek to rise. If it gets any higher than this beam, they have no way in or out. Covering the news in Lincoln County from the LEX 18 Mobile Newsroom, back to you.
Well, the family says they hope someone out there who has gone through a similar situation can point them in the right direction for help repairing that bridge.
We are getting a break from the rain, and some of that rain that fell earlier in the week obviously was extremely heavy. There were places, Lincoln County, Marion, Boyle County, Northern Casey, that picked up a month's worth of rain in just a couple of days. So that's the flooding that we saw. As we look out this afternoon, it is terrific, and that'll be the case here for a few days. That's Thursday Night Live ongoing now. You can join a few hundred of your closest friends down there and enjoy a terrific latter part of the afternoon into the evening. Thursday Night Live, the music goes until 8 o'clock. LEX 18, happy and proud to be a sponsor. We are looking at a quiet Max Track Live Doppler. Oh, that's nice. Future track, we will continue through the night. It stays clear. Not only through the night tonight, your day tomorrow looks to be a dandy. A summertime dandy at that, because it will be hot and it will be humid, but that's kind of how late June is supposed to be. Right now we're talking temperatures that are running mid-80s for just about everyone. You got the 87 now in Lexington, 88 in Frankfort. A little cooler at Somerset where it's 82. 80s will seem cool. We'll talk about that in a couple of minutes.
All righty, Bill. Thank you very much.
A Kentucky judge could be on the short list of candidates President Trump will consider to fill a seat on the United States Supreme Court.
LEX 18's Michael Burke has more about Amul Thapar from some people who know the judge and have followed his career.
President Trump has another Supreme Court seat to fill following Anthony Kennedy's July retirement. Could he do so this time with a federal judge from Kentucky?
I think he'd be great. He's smart, he's thoughtful.
He is Amul Thapar, a judge in the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals and a former Eastern District Kentucky judge appointed by then-President George W. Bush. He was considered 2 years ago for the Supreme Court following the death of Antonin Scalia. State Representative Adam Koenig knows Judge Thapar professionally and personally.
Said he listens more. He's got a good, dry sense of humor. You can tell he's a family man.
But would he lean to the left or to the Republican right? Josh Douglas is a law professor at UK.
You may have some new rulings on abortion rights.
And that's not all.
And potentially in rights involving same-sex couples and the LGBT movement as well.
But any ruling he'd make would be done so with one thing in mind.
You know, the Constitution, the Founding Fathers, the original meanings.
He's a very smart judge, a very careful judge, and a very conservative judge.
His friends, however, might use a slightly different term.
I think he's solidly conservative.
And this president just might consider him to be a solid choice. Covering the news, Michael Burke, LEX 18 News.
Two people appearing in Menifee County Court this morning facing different charges have one thing in common. They're both former employees of the school district.
One is accused of doing drugs in front of students. The other is accused of having an inappropriate relationship with a student. Tiffany Jackson reports.
Earlier this year, students of Cherish Rednauer told officials their teacher crushed up a pill with her credit card, made a line with the powder, and snorted it during class.
It just really upsets me because, you know, I just think a lot of the kids and really got upset over this.
Today, Rednauer was in front of the judge for less than 2 minutes. A stand-in attorney entered a not guilty plea to her drug charges. On the other hand, a little more was said when Stanley Hensley stepped up. Hensley is accused of having an inappropriate relationship with a female student last fall. He's charged with 2 counts of sexual abuse, which he pleaded guilty to this morning.
His desire to plead guilty.
It is.
And that's consistent with your advice.
Yes, Your Honor.
The Commonwealth then asked that Hensley's bond be revoked, claiming he violated it by being around a teenage girl recently.
The Commonwealth graciously allowed Mr. Hensley 2 extra months before he came back here to get his plea because he had matters to get straight. Instead of getting matters straight, he decided to take that time and go to a golf tournament and scramble and put himself around 16-year-old children. He knew the violation. This girl is similar in age to the girl that he actually assaulted.
The Commonwealth's attorney showed the judge a picture of their proof.
That's me, but just because I was standing there doesn't mean that I was talking to her.
Hensley was placed back in custody. Covering the news in Menifee County, Tiffany Jackson, LEX 18 News.
The Lexington Center Board has awarded a $241 million contract to a local construction company to build the new Lexington Convention Center. Bid proposals were received from 3 general contractors, but Messer Construction Company came out on top. The contract includes demolition of the Jefferson Street Bridge, new UK hospitality clubs, new upper arena chairback seats, and some new parking structures as well. The 3-year project is slated to begin in mid-July. The project will be built in phases to allow Rupp Arena and much of the existing Lexington Center to remain open during construction. Vision problems did not stop an LEX 18 viewer from seeing her new best friend on one of our broadcasts.
Next on LEX 18 News at 6, watch why the loss of one dog led her to this special new pet and why she knows they're a perfect pair.